Taking battle stations, I ain't on vacation. I'm just glowing up, living out aspirations. I beat the expectations and change the generations. And I'm still jumping fences, and you're just imitations. They're all in second places, but I don't live for praises. I play this life like a game, live on the stages. Let me paraphrases, then do a couple pages. Watch this, watch this, watch this. Let me introduce you to a brand new thing.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first ever NEXXTCAR Racing League podcast. We are joined by our co-host Nick Trudeau, the owner and creator of the NEXXTCAR Racing League. What's going on, man?
What's going on?
Oh, dude, I am excited to get this podcast going. We have wanted to do this for a long time. Let's get it started here. First off, we have got our guest star tonight that is 10 Titan for life, Peyton. What's going on, buddy?
What's up, Ronnie?
How you doing, man? How's it feel to be the very first co-guest star on the NEXXTCAR podcast?
I won't lie, it's an honor. It's super exciting when you told me that I was going to be the guy stepping in here tonight. I mean, it's an absolute honor. NEXXTCAR means a lot to me, so to be the one picked to be the first guest, it means a lot to me. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Not a problem. You absolutely earned it to be here tonight. What we're doing here on this podcast is we're bringing in people to be the guest star, whether they won the previous week or they just have been dominating lately, one or the other. And, you know, you were the defending series champion. You won the championship last season, and currently you are the points leader right now in the truck series. So it was only right to bring you in to be the first guest here tonight.
Heck yeah, man.
But before we get this started here, Nick, congrats on the baby, man.
Yeah, thank you. It's been kind of crazy, and she's already 6 weeks. So
dang, it does not seem it.
Jesus, that is crazy.
Yeah,
she walking yet?
No. My son's trying to teach her ABCs and like numbers and stuff. I'm like, dude, she can't even sit up straight. So, like, She's not learning too much, but yeah, she's doing really well. She's getting big real quick, and her brothers and sisters love her. So everything's going well over here. It's just been kind of crazy last month or so.
Absolutely, I hear you in that. Toby Kelsey, hell yeah, podcast is a great idea. Yes, sir. Like I said, this is something we have wanted to do for a long time, and finally, we have got the ball rolling on that. Now, some of you guys that are not familiar with the NEXXTCAR Racing League, what we are is we are a PS4/PS5 NASCAR Racing League. We're on NASCAR Heat 5 right now. Obviously, we're not making that transition to NASCAR 21, as that game is just basically undrivable, unplayable. You can't even choose what track you want to go to. So we are staying on NASCAR Heat 5, and like I said, we are a PS4, PS5 console gaming system. Right now, we are running the Truck Series and Cup Series with the hopes of next season, as we head into our 7th season here, and about 6 to 8 weeks left on this current season, we are going to be hopefully bringing back that Xfinity Series. So that is going to be good. The Xfinity Series is always a popular series when it comes to NEXXTCAR. It provides some of the great racing, and it is a big step for some of those guys that aren't quite ready to make that transition from the Truck Series to the Cup, and they can go into the Xfinity and get the eyes of some of the guys up in the Cup Series that, hey, this guy's been doing pretty good. He can, find his way up to this Cup Series. But Nick, before we start in the actual broadcast, tell us, what were your thoughts when you created NEXXTCAR, and how do you view how NEXXTCAR is right now to how you viewed it when you started it?
Yeah, it was really small when we started. We probably had some guys, and it was more on the fun side. It's still heck of a lot of fun now, but it's more competitive now than it used to be. It was more laid back, and obviously we still have some fun with it today. We still have those roots in the league itself, but no, the competition that we have in the league now is just phenomenal. Great racing from all series, and week in and week out. Great finishes, great hard racing. No dirty racing whatsoever. It's more just there's incidents on track like we always have, but we get it straightened out, and we have hard racing every single lap.
Absolutely.
So it's grown to something, and that I never thought it would be. I never thought we'd be having a podcast, or maybe searching for going into other games like F1 or Tony Stewart games or something like that. It was always strictly NASCAR, and maybe all three series. I know we had all three a couple years back, and then with you heading overseas and everything, we went back to the two. I'm hoping to get the Xfinity back rolling and get enough people in all three series, and I think it's up from here. It's going really well, and we're continuing to grow every single year and have great racers come join us.
Absolutely. And, you mentioned on that growth, and that is what I'm really hoping when I brought this idea to you about this podcast, was this will help the league grow. And you mentioned about that growth, obviously, and this is the biggest field in Cup and Truck that we have ever had in NEXXTCAR this season. So that has obviously helped the competition, and it has made these races very intriguing. And a guy that has absolutely capitalized on those great finishes that you mentioned is Peyton. He's won some pretty lucky races here as the seasons have gone on. Tennessee, you joined, what was it, I believe, season 4?
Ooh, I think
3 or 4?
the year I started was my very first race was in the 40 truck at Talladega. Was that the end of season 3?
I think that was
I might
towards
have
the end
raced
of
a little
season
bit.
3.
It might have been the end of season 3. So I think my first full time was season 4, I believe.
Right.
I think that checks out. Yeah, because season 4 was the year Pierce won the championship. So yes, I started at the very end of season 3.
Okay. So from your point of view as a driver in the league, how has it been for you to see this league grow into what it is today?
I mean, it's awesome. Like, there's a reason why guys like me are so committed, or me personally at least, why I'm so committed to NEXXTCAR is because, I mean, this is my home. When I came in here, I was brand new to online racing, period. I'd never raced manual on a Heat 5 game or a Heat game, period. I didn't even know leagues were a thing until this game. And I really learned a lot from you guys and was accepted day one, and it's just always been a family. And even like Nick talked about, sure, we have our instances on track, but unlike pretty much almost every league I'm ever in, NEXXTCAR is one of the most respectable and competitive leagues I've ever been a part of. And it's quickly growing. I mean, every year it feels like the competition is getting a lot better, and I think it's made me get better as well. It makes you push yourself. If you take too long and don't put enough effort into it, I mean, you will fall quickly in the standings.
Absolutely. And like you said, we are a very clean league, and we pride ourselves on that. We don't bring in people that are going to wreck you for the win. If you do that, you're going to get booted from NEXXTCAR. We have no tolerance for that at all. Yes, this is a video game, but we try to keep it as fair and, as competitive as we can. And, the way you talked about it growing and stuff, and the competition getting better and better every year, that is exactly what you hope for in a league. You don't want that same guy dominating every race of the season. you want people to get better as the season goes on, and you're definitely one of those guys that has improved from your very first race in NEXXTCAR to where we are now.
Oh yeah, and the field itself, like the day I came in, like Evo was in like truck. I didn't race Cup back then. Evo was the big guy. But looking back on it, like Evo's field and the competition we had back then is nowhere even close to what we have now. No offense to you, Evo. Maybe this will make you get back in trucks. I'd like to see you back in there. But it is completely night and day of the skill level NEXXTCAR is, and it's awesome to see. I love it.
Yes, sir. And one last question for both of you guys before we get the ball rolling on this podcast. Jeez, I'm so used to saying broadcast. On this podcast, we're going to start with the guy who's experienced it twice in his NEXXTCAR career. That is Nick. How does it feel winning that championship at the end of the season?
Oh, it feels great to win it, obviously. It's especially now with the competition we have, it's, you got to put in the hours of, testing out a setup, or it's not even full setups. It's just pit adjustment. But, we probably have some of the quickest guys just using pit adjustment setups. And, if you go win a championship, take a lot of pride in that. It's hard to win one, let alone two. I won mine at the beginning of creating NEXXTCAR, and that was 2 truck championships. And the competition has just been growing every year. And it's been more and more difficult to win one again. So, I think it's very well deserved, and you feel a lot of joy knowing, like, hey, like, yeah, I was able to get it done and was able to do really well, even though it's a video game. Like, some of us work hard at something we enjoy doing. So,
Absolutely.
Even though it's for fun, we don't do it for money. We don't. We just go out there and have a good time with each other. Like Tennessee said, it's like a family in here. We bust each other's balls, and we we have a lot of fun, a lot of laughs, both on track and off, in our chats that we have. But yeah, the championships, they're hard fought, and take a lot of pride in winning one of those.
Absolutely. Tennessee, what's your point on that?
I'm sorry, I totally zoomed out. Nick was talking about I'm sorry.
Winning championships. How does that feel?
Got you. Like Nick said, it means a lot, especially with the competition getting hard. Last year when I won it, y'all have heard me on the broadcast and stuff how excited I get in some of these races and winning. But the guys that were there when I won my championship can tell you I was pretty much silent. Like, I was almost in shock. It took a while for that really to hit me. Like, holy shit, I actually won this thing. Because it's so hard to do. I mean, these fields are extremely talented, and to win one of these things, I mean, it means a lot. You got to be on your game. So, hell yeah. That feeling, I'll never forget it. I mean, I never thought I'd win one, honestly, when I joined NEXXTCAR. I never thought I'd be at that level. So, it meant a lot
my battery
to me.
died for my headset, so we got to get that back up and running here. All right, y'all there? You guys there? My damn headset died. All right, so I didn't hear about the last half of what you said there, Tennessee, but Brandon said, Tennessee, he brought you in there in the late part of Season 3.
Who it was, but like I was racing a Heat 5 public lobby, which those are always interesting. A guy noticed me and my skills. He added me to a league. It didn't really work, but he basically introduced me to leagues and stuff. And that's when I made that post on like the NASCAR Heat forum, and G saw it and added me to NEXXTCAR. I can't say thank you enough, G, because you're the only reason why I'm here. And I really appreciate it, because it's been, I mean, this league's awesome. I like NEXXTCAR is definitely my home. So thank you, G.
Absolutely.
Shout out to you, brother.
And Tuck just commented that on live stream. This league can be described as a family through thick and thin. Yes, sir. Absolutely, 100%. And Kevin, he commented, thank you for helping expose NEXXTCAR to a lot of online fans that I'm sure will continue to grow as a fan base to watch you all race and just talk about sports and other general stuff. Absolutely. That is what we wanted to do with this podcast, and hopefully this can help the podcast grow and it can help the NEXXTCAR community grow. But let's get into this week's podcast, the events you guys have been waiting to hear about. Topic number 1, the upcoming NASCAR Clash at the LA Coliseum. How do you guys feel about that starting this Saturday? The NASCAR gets their season started. What are your guys' thoughts on that LA Clash? We'll start with Nick.
I have mixed feelings about it, to be honest with you. I'm excited for the short track racing for the Clash instead of Daytona or the road course like last year or anything. I think, what we saw at Bristol with the All-Star race a few years back, was a great race. And I think the short tracks obviously are making a comeback, and as well as they should. But I don't know if it should be there. I think they should have brought it to, maybe a more local short track or something that's already set up instead of some big venue. Yep. I think it's part of just, it's a part of the show. But I'm hoping it provides good racing. I think having the heats and kind of having that, more local short track feel to it, I think will be great. And I think part of it is they can't fit all the damn cars on the track. I think that's a big part of it too.
Yeah.
So I think it's all glamour and everything for having it in LA, obviously, and the Coliseum, but no, they should have kept it a football field. But hopefully it provides great racing. I'm looking forward to seeing it Sunday night, especially with the new cars under the lights there. I think it would be great to have it kicked off that way. So we'll see what happens.
Absolutely. And, I agree with you. I'm kind of on the fence with this race. Like you said, they could have picked a much better venue. But to me, I feel like the Clash should still be at Daytona. I know one of the big reasons they brought it out of Daytona and experimented a little bit, they went to the road course and then now obviously at the LA Coliseum. But I know some teams were complaining because they were getting wrecked cars, and that's a lot of money. So I know a lot of people were complaining on that side of it, but I still feel like the Clash should have stayed at Daytona. That is the NASCAR capital of the world. And I have a hard time with it leaving there.
Yeah. It sucks because we grow up with the Bud Shootout and everything.
Yep.
Daytona, and you just see that and you're like, it belongs there.
Right.
And that's where it should be.
Yep.
And a part of me is like, if they're gonna move it away from Daytona, I would like to be a short track. I wouldn't mind if it was at a Clash at Martinsville or Clash at Bristol. That's where it should be if you're gonna do a short track. I don't agree with making a track out of a football stadium or throwing some clay dirt on Bristol and calling it a dirt track.
Yeah,
I don't
right.
either. So there's many dirt tracks that could use that publicity and everything, and you're gonna go throw dirt on Bristol. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. I'm hoping for the best, but no, we'll see what happens.
Absolutely. Tennessee, what's your take on it?
I mean, maybe it's because I'm a younger fan. And I don't mean that by I've not watched NASCAR as long as you guys. I mean, I watched it since I was a kid. But more as I'm just younger than you guys in general. But I'm actually excited that's in the Coliseum. I think it's an amazing opportunity for NASCAR. I mean, the Super Bowl is being played in LA the next weekend after the Clash. So you have a bunch of people in the town. It is a hyped up city right now. And NASCAR is putting a product of short track racing, which is one of the most popular racing types of NASCAR,
Right.
and they're putting it into a historic football stadium in LA in the Coliseum. I'm sure it's not going to be exactly what a lot of fans want to see. Nick's right. You can have other tracks get more publicity and stuff, but I think for a market standpoint, for NASCAR to add more fans to their fan base and get some, just more fans in general, young, old, whatever. I love the idea of going to LA. It's going to be a bit of a test. Obviously, we have no idea what to expect. I mean, it's a really short track, but I think it's going to even the field up a little bit because top speed isn't going to matter as much. And I think it's going to be a good race. I really do. You might have one guy might steal the show and run away with it, but I honestly think the racing product will be decent. And I'm really excited to see what kind of show those boys put on.
And they do have an option for 2023 and 2024.
I saw that. They just, they can keep it there. Yep, I did see that. Tuck said, oh, my bad. Go ahead. Not to cut you off.
Real quick, I want to add on that. Y'all talked about keeping it Daytona, and y'all really missed that. I actually like them taking it away from Daytona because the huge problem that it was okay on the road course, even though that's not probably exactly what you would want.
No.
But the problem we had with the Clash beforehand is it was on Daytona and it caused a lot of wrecks. So when they would race this Clash, these guys would race in a line because this race really didn't matter that much to them. They didn't want to wreck their cars and stuff. So usually the racing product was really bad, in my opinion. It was very rare we ever got a really entertaining Clash. Like, heck, the one year I think Johnson wrecked like Paul Menard and won it. I mean, they literally called it because everybody wrecked. That's all I remember from that. They literally started racing once and a caution happened and everybody was mad. So I actually like the idea of taking away from Daytona, but yet again, I'm not just because I'm younger than you guys.
Right. Let's get caught up on some of these comments here. Tuck, NASCAR is trying to reach out to a new fan base, and it's all experimental. Hopefully it's a good event, produces great racing. I think it is going to produce some great racing. Like Nick said, we're going back to short track racing, so it better produce some good racing because this is one of the shortest tracks that we have ever seen NASCAR race on. So it's going to be definitely an experiment. That is for sure. Moving on to the next topic that we have, and it is something we're going to see for the first time at the LA Coliseum on Saturday. That is the next gen car. Some major changes coming to NASCAR cars. Single lug nuts, bigger rims, big spoilers on the back of these things. It's basically a wide body car, the way the rear end sticks out farther. Nick, what are your thoughts on this next gen car?
Obviously, first impressions of it when they unveiled it was they look really nice. The Fords obviously are probably the nicest because it's probably the biggest change out of all three manufacturers. I like that they're symmetrical. I know just the look of them is awesome. They look like street cars, as close as you could probably get, and still having it be a race car. The back end, it's bigger on the back end, which it's just the curves of the car, and it looks like a damn sexy car. I have mixed feelings about the rims. I think they're just trying to cater to that younger demographic and get new fans and have it more look like normal rims than just the plain like black rim on the stock car. Single lug nut, mix about that. I think it'll be good. Apparently I didn't know this, but they're going to be able to reuse the lug nut for like multiple weeks.
Yep.
I did not know that.
Penske came out today and said they used over 75,000 lug nuts just last season, and these lug nuts are supposed to be able to be used about 3 to 4 races in a row or so before they have to get new ones.
But how much can you trust that though?
We'll see.
I know.
That
the trust factor on that's like, okay, week 4 of using the same lug nut, is it going to hold there?
But I mean, if Formula One, I guess, can use it because it's the same exact setup as Formula One. They use single lug nut, but I don't know if Formula One reuses them. You know,
Yeah.
I can't answer that. But if it can withstand a Formula One car, then I think NASCAR will have no problem with it. But the first couple races,
Well,
if they keep reusing them, that's going to be pretty
yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, I think just the biggest question was what package they were going to go with. And now that we know the package with going to 670 and going to the 4-inch spoiler instead of a 6, I think would be really good. And I think it's going to put it back in the driver's hands. And I kind of saw that with the test at Phoenix a few weeks back. No cars spinning out, like drivers that know how to drive, spinning it out. No, Chase Elliott, Kyle Busch, both spinning at Phoenix, and they run well there.
Right.
So it's going to take a lot of talent, and I think you'll see my pick for the championship, and it's going to be the best driver who knows how to handle the car is going to win the championship and know how to drive it. So
Right.
I think it's going to be a big change from what they had. From what I've seen from like drivers and stuff, it's going to put it back in the driver's hands with more horsepower and lower downforce on the back. And I think it'll be really great racing. I think the bodies a little bit being with the composite bodies and being able to rough them up a little bit more than the other bodies that they had, I think will be better. They can kind of lean on each other a bit more. So hopefully we can get some great racing out of that. But we still have to see it on track. So
Right, absolutely.
We'll see how it goes. I'm hoping the package is the right package. I know the drivers and everyone was excited when they went to the higher horsepower. So I think it should probably be a little bit higher, but
yeah,
I think they reached a good medium with that, and we'll see how it plays out. Probably, a few weeks after Daytona, we'll probably get to really see it at like Phoenix or something like that.
Right. The thing I'm really excited about with this car the most is just how much better and how amazing this car sounds. They absolutely nailed the exhaust on this thing.
Yeah, the dual exhaust coming out both sides. It sounds mean, and even I've heard from people saying that it sounds way louder at the track too.
Right.
So,
and I talked to Ryan the other day, Ryan Blaney, and he mentioned a problem that he's having that they're going to have to figure out is the drone of the exhaust is making it a little hard to hear his spotter and his crew.
Wow.
So they're going to definitely have to get that figured out because that is a safety incident, especially at Daytona and Talladega.
Right.
But yeah, absolutely. I'm looking forward to the clash because like we talked about, that is the first time we're going to see those cars in a racing environment. You know, we saw them in practice and stuff around Charlotte, and they actually did a restart and stuff with them, but this is the actual first time we're going to see them in a racing environment. Tennessee, what are your thoughts on it?
I'm super excited for the next gen car. I guess we need to stop really calling that here soon since it's kind of out. Maybe just call it Gen 7 car, whatever you want to call it. But it's a big mystery because, I mean, obviously we haven't really seen it a lot. So we can only really go about what drivers have told us and what we think this package will do and stuff. The fact that they're bringing out a car that should be able to, with a composite body, that should be able to, beat and bang a little bit more. Like, prime example, like the incident with Chase and Harvick at Bristol. I don't think anybody in NASCAR thinks that little contact should cause a flat tire. Like that was barely a contact, and he got a flat.
Right.
So hopefully this next body will kind of help that. Like the Xfinity cars usually do a whole lot better with that. And also, I'm excited because a lot of drivers, I mean, like Nick was kind of alluding, this car seems a lot harder to control. I mean, we've seen a whole bunch of spins in these test sessions so far. So it's going to take some skill. Like I really think the guys that have a dirt background are actually going to excel with this car. We'll see. I'm extremely excited to see this car because I think we're going to see some guys really shine in it that we haven't really got to see shine because they were held back with the old car.
Absolutely. I'm kind of thinking that same aspect. And you going back to the whole tire rubbing, cut down the tire, I think that is going to be solved by this car because if you look at it, the wheel well it sticks out a
Yes.
little farther, the fender. So that's going to protect those tires a little more. So I think that will be the answer to the exhaust pipes rubbing on a tire and cutting it.
I hope so, because I feel like that's been a big problem comparing like Cup to Xfinity. We've had a couple races where Xfinity, you'll see them go hardcore and they'll have some really good racing, and then we'll see Cup, and it's almost like everybody's kind of being like super careful around each other. You don't ever really see contact. It seems like the car was kind of holding back some good racing sometimes. So I think this car will let guys be a little bit more aggressive than they usually were before, and that's always a good thing in racing, in my opinion.
Oh, absolutely. 100%. Anything else you got to add to that, Nick?
No, I'm excited to see it. Like Tim was talking about, I think it's going to, no, it was probably holding back some drivers that, could probably manhandle this car coming out.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's going to kind of work in the hands of possibly like more of the dirt drivers, like Kyle Larson or Christopher Bell, or even I think Kyle Busch, or someone who is running before Gen 6 car, I think will be able to handle it a little bit better. I think I was reading tweets earlier, and I think Kurt Busch alluded to it being a cross between old school and new school. Kind of saying that it's a kind of like a cross between like what they had before, with how it drives, with the early 2000s of how the car drove and how difficult it was, but you have that new school look on it. I think the racing will be great, so I hope it works out. They put a lot of money into it, and a lot of testing time. It would suck if they have to go back to the drawing board and it's not ready. So
Absolutely.
We'll see what happens.
Right, and going back to Tennessee's comment, he mentioned about we're gonna have to start calling it the Gen 7. I don't think so, because when the car of tomorrow was introduced, they kept calling it the car of tomorrow.
That's true.
So I think that's gonna be the next gen is gonna be the coin term for this generation. Tuck wants to know, which driver do we think will benefit the most with this new car? He's going with Tyler Reddick, one of those guys that has dirt racing in his past. So I
can see Reddick up against the wall just ripping it in this car. Like, I think you'd do really well. Another one, like I said, is Kyle Larson. Like, he drove his ass off last season, and I think this car, it's scary to even think about, but I think is going to benefit him even more. And how it drives. But we'll see how everyone adjusts to it and how all the teams adjust, how the manufacturers adjust. So we probably won't get a gauge of who is really like here for the season.
It's going to be a couple of weeks.
Yeah,
I think it'll be a few months. I think you won't see anybody till probably
about the All-Star break, maybe
in mid to late summer.
Yeah.
My pick now.
To get
go ahead.
Stretch.
Now, I don't think these guys are going to benefit from this. I think they gave up on last season because we saw Stewart-Haas Racing just absolutely nowhere where they were in the previous years. So I'm going to go with the guy that's going to really benefit from it the most is Kevin Harvick. But to say they're benefiting, I'm going to go with not really, because me personally, I think they gave up on last season. They focused more on this next-gen car during last season because they just were nowhere near competitive as we have seen any of them in the past. Sure, he was leading at Bristol and then some stuff happened and he made the playoffs, took himself out at the Roval. Eric Almirola, he won at New Hampshire. So they had a little bit of success, but not what they're used to. So I think they just gave up basically last season and said, let's focus on the next gen. And I think those guys are going to be competitive this year.
Oh, yeah, I 100% agree with that. I think Stewart-Haas definitely kind of stepped back last year. And it's pretty obvious because they had a really weird year when you look back and look at it. Like, it was really weird that Eric Almirola randomly won a race. Like, it was an interesting one. But I thought you were about to steal one of my guys, but you actually went to the guy that I'm a little bit excited to see with this next car because I don't know what we're really going to get from Kevin Harvick. Kevin Harvick has drove a lot of race cars in his life, obviously. He is the oldest driver in NASCAR right now, and I think there's a good argument that he's one of the best drivers in NASCAR currently.
Absolutely.
I'm excited to see if this car fits his style of driving, though. Kevin Harvick always seems to me to be a really almost like he usually drives these tighter cars. When I think of Kevin Harvick, I don't think of him driving a lot of loose cars. I think that's what this car is going to be more of. So I'm excited to see if Kevin Harvick's going to go up or he's going to go back. I could see Kevin Harvick kind of going either way. I could see Kevin Harvick kind of fading back in the field, but we'll see. The guy I was thinking, along with Tyler Reddick is an awesome one. I think Chase Briscoe is actually going to have a good year in NASCAR this year.
I didn't think about
I know
him.
that's kind of my boy, him and Ross, but I really think Chase Briscoe is going to surprise some people. It's yet again another guy that's young. I think a lot of rookie guys in general will actually do good this car. The young age, I think, will take over this car pretty well. That's kind of my little sleeper this year. I could see Chase Briscoe winning a couple races and maybe even having a bit of a run. I could see Chase Briscoe with a couple wins in round of 8. I could see that personally.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think something that is going to help Briscoe is he is one heck of a road course racer. And they have added a couple more road courses to this upcoming schedule. They're heading to the Circuit of the Americas. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they're actually heading to the Canadian Tire, if I'm not mistaken.
I think you're right on that.
I got the schedule here. I'm sorry, no, they're heading to Road America. I'm sorry.
Yep,
which is a
Yep.
brand new road course for the Cup Series to be going to. But he has got a lot of experience there because the Xfinity used to go there. So
Yeah, Ron,
exactly.
They went there last season.
Did they?
Yeah, Chase won it.
Well, that's why I don't remember.
I got the die
remember.
Oh, yeah.
No, they ran there the 4th of July week.
Yeah, that's right. Remember, it got rained. Larson was catching him, and it started raining, and they ended up calling it.
Oh, shit. Yeah, that's right.
That's what.
They did go to Coda. That's right.
Yeah, they went to Coda. They went to Road America. They went to the Glen, and a whole bunch of other places.
You know what? Kamikaze just mentioned exactly why I forgot I was overseas, so that's what I'm going to go with. I didn't know they went there because I was overseas. There we go. Thank you,
Yeah,
Kamikaze.
you had no
That
idea.
sounds good. That sounds good.
But,
Yeah, I think.
Go ahead.
Obviously, I think the dirt track racers, I think, will take to it better than most.
Mhm.
And then I think just from previous, like when you think about every time the car changed, so when you went from into the COT, and then you changed the COT to the Gen 6. What year was that?
That was 12.
Yeah, I think it was 2012. I think the one team that got to it the most and the quickest was Hendrick. I think they just switched over like really quick, and they handled the car, I think, the best every time the car switches. So I think Kyle Busch won the first COT race at Bristol in the COT.
Sure did. He was battling
Jeff Burton.
31. Yeah, Jeff Burton. Yep.
No. And then you got Johnson through all those years winning championships in it. No, I think every time it switched, they just seemed to find something in the car. And I think they'll find that. And with the drivers they have with Larson and Elliott and even Bowman, Byron, they're going to figure it out pretty quick. So we'll see what happens. I think, it could be true. Like they might have laid back at Stewart-Haas and was just concentrating on this car, and they kind of got a head start. That could benefit them as well.
Right.
But we'll see. We'll see who gets a grasp on it with them kind of not finalizing stuff for a while. I think it up until a few weeks ago. I think it's hard to tell like who can come out of the gate and just win all the time. And I think with that, it'll probably be Larson again, mile and a half. So I just think that they're the strongest team right now.
Oh, absolutely.
Yep.
And mentioning Burton, what about that other Burton coming in? Jeb Burton taking over the 21 at Wood Brothers. I think that's going to be a Harrison. Same thing. I think Harrison Burton is going to be one of those guys that we're going to have to keep an eye on as well.
Jeb's at Colleague Racing now.
That's
No,
right.
he's
He
not.
did.
He
No.
left.
He's
He's
in
not
the
in
10.
Colleague. Landon Castle's in the 10 next
Yeah.
year.
Oh, is
Jeb
he?
went to
Junior
he went to
Motorsports.
no, it's not Junior. Is it Sam Hunt Motorsports? No, it's R Motorsports. He went to R Motorsports.
Yep,
with,
that's right.
I believe
Yep.
I'm right on that. Someone in the comments, if I'm wrong on that, please point that out.
Jeb was
but-
in it last year. I remember now.
Harrison, I think we're overlooking somebody. You want to pull up Harrison Burton, but the one rookie we skipped over is Austin Cindric. That is going to be
Yes.
an extremely interesting rookie to watch this year. I think he'll be your rookie of the year. I'm going to call that bold. Especially with all these road courses. The only thing we mentioned with Briscoe road courses stuff, the one guy that I think is going to mess up some things for Briscoe and Cindric is that 16 car that's going to be having AJ Allmendinger in those races, road courses. I'm fully expecting AJ to steal 2 or 3 wins this year.
100%.
So we'll see if Austin Cindric and Chase can get a road course or two to lock themselves in the playoffs. But you do make a good point. This car on the road courses, based on times we were seeing, like Kurt Busch and I forget who else was testing it, but they were running 3-4 seconds quicker at the Roval when they went here.
Right.
So I think road course guys are going to love this car. And I think you'll see those guys kill it at road courses.
Oh, I 100% agree. Dale said Harrison Burton might surprise some people this year. Absolutely, I agree with that. But like you said, Austin Cindric. And another thing that really surprised me is he drove for Penske Xfinity last season. Well, Penske has since come out as they were obviously a dominating force in the Xfinity Series. They won a championship. He was runner-up last season. He lost to Tyler Reddick. They are done in the Xfinity Series, Penske is. That, to me, was a huge shocker.
Yeah, to me, it wasn't as much. The second they lost Cindric, who else in the Ford camp right now, other than Haley Deegan? We won't go down that road right now. But who else do they really have? They'd have really nobody in that stable right now. Honestly, the next guy you would have thought of is Todd Gilliland, but he got promoted to Furniture Row. So it didn't super surprise me Penske went away because if you look at the roster, they kind of got their stable for the next quite a few years done. I mean, you got Cindric in there. I don't see Logano going anywhere anytime soon. Blaney isn't going anywhere anytime soon. He's still pretty young. People forget how young Blaney is.
Yeah, he's only 27.
And then Burton, yeah, I could see Burton kind of being Logano's replacement in a few years if he races good. So I think Penske's kind of set right now. They've kind of laid their foundation, and they're just kind of rolling with it. Kind of like Hendrick in a way. I don't see either of those teams making driver moves for quite a few years, to be honest. I think we're looking at 2-3 years minimum before we see anything change.
Kamikaze just commented, just call her Yummy Bum. But we are moving on from that. Next up. We saw Keystone Cowboy mentioned it earlier on in the comments. Tell Peyton, go Bengals. Let's move on to the Super Bowl and the NFL playoffs. What a shock it is for both of those teams in the Super Bowl this year.
This whole NFL season has been wild from start to finish. I mean, I don't even know what to say about the NFL. We're living in a fantasy world, a simulation. The fact that the NFC Championship had the 4th seed Rams host the 49ers, who would have guessed that? And the fact that the Cincinnati Bengals have went out and knocked off both the Titans, we don't talk about it, and the Chiefs and made the Super Bowl.
And they're both
crazy.
4 seeds. That's what's crazy.
Yeah.
You know, the
amount of upsets, like, I think almost all of them have been upsets in the playoffs. It's been absolutely crazy. It's great to see though, like great games, all field goal winners or last second or overtime or something nuts has gone on. And now I think these two teams, it's going to be a great Super Bowl. And no, I don't lean either way with one or the other, but I think either quarterback would deserve it. I hope Stafford wins it.
Absolutely.
Because he's been in a shitty position his whole career. And for him in his first season to be with a good team and make a Super Bowl, I hope he knocks it out. But with Burrow, like, the kid can play. And for him to be in the Super Bowl in his second year after the injury last year, like, I think he's going to be winning a few Super Bowls before he's done. So it's going to be a great game, and I'm excited to watch it.
Oh, absolutely. And, just like you mentioned, I'm on the fence about this one. I want the Bengals to win. If Cleveland can't get it done, I want a team from Ohio that has just had terrible history. I would love for the Bengals to win, but I also want the Rams to win because, like you said, Stafford gave everything he had to the Detroit Lions for so many years to get nothing in return. So I'm torn on who I want to win. Obviously, I'm going to have to go with the Bengals, but I would love to see Stafford finally get that ring.
Yeah, me and you are in the same boat on that one. I'll be cheering for the Bengals. I mean, if they're going to ruin our season, they might as well go all the way and win that damn thing.
Yep.
I mean, Joe Burrow is that guy. I mean, I'll literally watch this guy get nailed multiple times, sacked 9 times, and still found a way to come on the field and throw a dot to Chase to beat us. But I agree with you and Matt Stafford, though. I mean, we've watched him sit in Detroit forever, it seems like, wasting his whole career. Dude padding the stats, but not having the team to do anything. Goes to L.A. and has killed it. I'm still a little bit on the fence. I'm going to cheer for Bengals. The only thing that makes me kind of want to cheer for the Rams is the Bengals playoff Super Bowl window, like Nick was kind of hinting at. I think it's wide open, and it'll be wide open for a long time. Joe Burrow at quarterback and Chase at wide receiver. As long as those two are on the roster, I think they'll be a threat every year. The Rams, on the other hand, I think they got 1 or 2 years, and then it's over.
And Stafford's going to have to retire here pretty soon. I think he's, 12 or 13 seasons now?
I think this is his 13th.
13th?
Is it 12? Is it
12 or 13?
Yeah, that's right. He did 12 in Detroit.
Yeah.
That's right.
And I think he would have possibly had 1, maybe 2 more Super Bowl appearances. Maybe not rings, but Super Bowl appearances had Megatron stayed longer. I mean, that dude was a monster at wideout, and he did not play to his full potential years.
Oh yeah, if Megatron stays, I think Stafford's stats could be really a lot higher. To be honest, Megatron was that good of a player.
Absolutely.
Megatron stays for 2-3 more years, and we could be looking at Stafford completely different than we do right now. I think everybody looks at Stafford knows he's a good quarterback. I mean, he's been one of the best quarterbacks in the league for a while, but nobody looks at him and goes, man, he's one of the best to ever do it. That's not Matt Stafford.
Right.
I think if Megatron would have stayed, though, and he would have had a little bit more success in the playoffs and stuff, I think we'd have been looking at him like that. So.
Absolutely. I 100% agree on that one. We got Tuck saying Stafford's 33. He has a good 5 to 7 years old. I don't know. Tom Brady said the same thing. He said he wanted to play till he was 50. Well, you heard the news earlier this week. He is done. But I don't know. It's a different NFL nowadays. Player with the rules and everything, I guess, quarterbacks can play many more years past their prime. They don't have to worry about getting, hit as hard. You've got so many rules now that protect the quarterback. So, I guess they can play several years past where they probably would have 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah, when I made the comment about the Rams window, I meant the Rams. I agree with that. I think Stafford's window of him being a good enough quarterback to win the Super Bowl probably is quite a bit open. He probably still got a bid, but the Rams have went all in for this year,
right?
And maybe could still get it next year, but they really need to win this Super Bowl for this all been worth it, because their roster is not going to be anywhere near as and it is right now in about 2 years.
No.
So I think this is Stafford's probably one opportunity I really think he's going to have, because next year you're going to have guys. We don't know exactly what's going to happen in Green Bay right now, but yes, Tom Brady just left the Bucs, but you're still going to have teams that are going to come out there, and it's going to be a tough fight for them to get back to the Super Bowl again.
Absolutely, 100%. Anything else you want to add there, Nick?
No, I completely agree with you guys. I think Stafford has 4 or 5 good years left, and then the other 2 or 3, if he plays, probably on the downward trend. And I think the Rams, like Ten said, they probably got 1 or 2 years. They put a lot into this team to make a run at it, and I think they're obviously there, and they need to capitalize on it. If not, I don't know when they could possibly go to a next one. So, and with the Bengals, like I said, with Burrow, he's going to be there a long time.
Absolutely.
Chase is going to be there a long time. I think they were smart to draft him and a wide receiver. Both are great.
Yep.
And obviously they know how to play together. So, it's been great to see like what the Bengals can do. Part of me's rooting for Stafford, and part of me is like, oh man, the Bengals are pretty good too. And be good to see either one win. So I'm not leaning either way, but I think it'll be a great game. I think that's about it.
Absolutely, and not to cut you off there, Kamikaze, good job on the podcast. Keep it up, boys. Got to go check on my son. Absolutely, man. I appreciate it. Thank you for tuning in with everything you've got going on right now, buddy. Prayers out to your son. I hope he gets healthy very soon. And, yeah, I appreciate you tuning in here with everything you got going on. Tuck wants to know, if Stafford wins in 2 weeks, is he a valid Hall of Famer? I say yes.
I'll say yes as well. I think Stafford's he's went out there and did what I think he needed to do to be in the Hall of Fame. Now, I do think there's an argument. I think the better argument is if he loses and then doesn't win a Super Bowl, is he? And then I would be on the fence. But that ring, to me, would be big for him. I think that would be the cherry on top. I think that'd be done.
Yep.
Absolutely. Yep, I agree with you on that. Nick, what you got?
I think with the Super Bowl, yeah, definitely. I think I don't have all his stats in front of me, but I think with the stats with Megatron and everything, and he's had some great seasons passing, obviously. But yeah, I'm not sure. I think maybe not like first ballot Hall of Famer.
Absolutely, yep.
No, I didn't say that.
I think he'll make it into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, no, Tuck just commented, glad we're all on the same page. Yeah, no, if he wins, he's an easy write-in. If not, then probably not making it. But like you said, Nick, definitely not a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Moving on here to our next topic, the biggest news of the week in the NFL, Tom Brady calling it a career. Now, I saw this coming, but personally, I didn't see it coming this season. I know he said not too long ago he wanted to play till he was 50s. I feel like he could have continued playing for another 3-4 seasons, but were you guys shocked to find out this week that the rumors that actually came out about a week or two ago were true?
Crazy enough, I was shocked. I mean, I was the guy the last 2-3 years, and like, oh yeah, this is it. This is Brady's final year. We're finally going to get rid of this guy. And then he would keep coming back. And eventually I learned my lesson this year. When Brady went out there and played the Rams, there was never a thought in my mind, this might be Brady's last game. Never thought it. Even when the rumors started happening and Schefter came out saying he was retiring, I literally on record have told people that I did believe he actually was retiring. I thought this guy's too big of a competitor. He's not actually retiring. We've been down this road before. So the fact, when I woke up that morning and saw that he put out a tweet about retiring, I was absolutely shocked personally.
Absolutely, but the other guy that retired after this season, I did know was coming, and that was Big Ben. I feel like he had not been the same for a couple seasons now. Honestly, I'm surprised it took to this season for him to finally hang it up. I feel like he could have hung it up 1 or 2 seasons ago because he just has not been that same competitive Big Ben that we were used to.
Yeah, with Tom Brady, being a Pats fan and watching him for so many years. You know, I think it was time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a little bit surprised because I think it's crazy because he's 44 years old, and I think he could have played till 46, 47
Right.
at a competitive level. Like, he was still on the verge of going to the Super Bowl still, and making the playoffs, and he could still sling it. Like, he's still one of the best QBs out there.
Mm-hmm.
His stats don't lie this season.
Right.
He's one of the best QBs. So yeah, it was a little bit surprising, but at the same time, he could have hung it up. Right after, or right at the end of his time with the Pats,
Mm-hmm.
and he would have been fine. And he literally has won everything that you can win. He has every stat in the book.
Yep.
And he could have hung it up a while ago, and I wouldn't even be mad about it. So, I think he probably stayed too long, but he could still do the job. I don't know. I have mixed feelings about it because he can still play at a high level. But obviously, I think now it's just, thinking about the family and everything.
Right.
His kids are getting older now, and it's right. When are you going to have time with them? So he's accomplished so much in his career, and he's got nothing left to prove. So I think with that, he kind of sucks. He didn't go out with another Super Bowl or something like that. He went out and lost, and I just think he's I think it's time to hang it up. So
yeah, and what's really crazy? You can sit here and say, "Oh, he's been in the NFL for 22 seasons now," or "He's played a long time," whatever you want to say. But when you put it into this perspective, I'm 25 years old. He has played 22 seasons. 3 years of my life, Tom Brady was not in the NFL. Yep. That is insane when you look at it from that perspective, that literally 3 years of my entire life, there was no Tom Brady. So that is a very long time.
Yeah, it's crazy. I was watching videos the other day. He's he talks trash to people on the field. And he's like, dude, I played with your dad. And it's just crazy to think about that, these players have their kids playing with Tom Brady after 22 seasons. And I don't think, his stats will probably be, up there for a while. Obviously, I think Mahomes can, at the end of it, could be right there with him, along probably with Burrow, too, when he's done, depending on how that goes. But, he's always going to be, the best. Not just being a Pats fan and Tom Brady fan, but he's one of the best to ever do it, obviously. And it's kind of sad, all the QBs that we grew up with playing and imitating in the backyard aren't around.
Yep.
So that's crazy to think about. But you got all these new QBs, running around the whole field like Mahomes, and it's the NFL's future is still bright. You have great talent coming in, playing QB and changing the position altogether. So it's it'll be fun to see.
Oh, absolutely. And Tuck commented, Ben had the mobility as an oak tree. He had to retire. I agree with that. Absolutely. The man's mobility was not there. But you know who else didn't have mobility? Peyton Manning. And that dude is arguably up there with Tom Brady in the conversation of the greatest of all time. Obviously, yes, Tom Brady takes that. But Peyton Manning, one of the greatest quarterbacks, unarguably, ever in the history of the NFL.
Yeah.
So
I might be biased. due to I was named after the guy, but I definitely agree with that. One quick remark on Brady. I'm not a fan of Brady, obviously, but he's one of those guys that you don't have to like Brady, but you have to respect him.
Absolutely.
Brady, there is no. Sure, you might could argue, is Tom Brady truly the greatest of all time ever about all players? There might be an argument with that. But you can't argue that he's not at least one of the greatest of all time to ever do it. Dude's easily a top 5 player that we've ever seen ever in the NFL. I mean, I literally was born and this guy was, killing in the NFL. I mean, my whole life this guy's been playing. It's crazy to think next year will be the first time that I've ever been alive where Brady won't be playing in the NFL.
Damn, how old are you?
Congrats on it. I'm about to turn 21 here in April, so I gives you an idea. I mean, exactly. So. Congrats to Brady on a great career, and congrats to Big Ben too. He's getting overshadowed now because obviously Brady retired. Yep. But I think Big Ben got voluntold that he needs to retire. Mm-hmm. I think Pittsburgh was going to cut him, but that's not the point. Great career to both of them. It's like Nick said, it's crazy to see all these guys retiring. I mean, we talked about it a little past this week, but like Ryan Tannehill is like the oldest starting quarterback in the AFC. Like that boggles my mind. That shows you how many quarterbacks have now retired.
Yeah.
So congrats to both of them. It's going to be weird not having those two out there anymore.
Oh, absolutely. 100% agree. Nick, you got anything final on that?
Nope. No, I'm good to go.
All right. Next up, our thoughts on this upcoming 2022 NASCAR season. Now, there are a lot of obviously returning tracks to the season. Some new ones that the Cup Series are heading to, like Worldwide Technology Raceway. I don't believe they've ever been there before. Nashville, we saw them head there last season, so not a whole lot of experience for the Cup there. Where else are they heading to? We've got...
I'm trying to think of different stuff.
We've got Coda. We saw that last season, like you mentioned, in the rain. Hopefully it doesn't rain at that track so we can actually see drivers' full potential at Coda.
Last year's race got really hammered by that because it was a rough situation for NASCAR. That rain it put a little bad spot on the race with those wrecks that happened due to people not being able to see and stuff. But for what we could see, it has some really good racing, and it's cool that they get to go to Coda now. I mean, it's an F1 track that is really massive. So I'm excited. I'm with you. I really am praying that it's sunny that day so we can truly see what these guys can do there. Because they should put on a really good show without it raining.
Oh, absolutely, 100%. Some of those drivers, they were looking forward to it, but like we mentioned, they were unable to reach their full potential with that rain, and it led to some major crashes. Biggest one that comes to mind is Truex's incident. I don't remember who he crashed with, but I know that was huge. I want to say it was Cole Custer, or
I think
it was either Cole Custer or who used to drive the 41 and then Custer took over for him. Hispanic guy. Suarez. Daniel Suarez.
So, it was Cole Custer.
Was it?
It was
okay.
Custer.
And then obviously you got Bristol Dirt making its return.
I'm excited for that. Not to interrupt here, but that's my hometown track, so I'm a big Bristol guy. It sucks that the Bristol Dirt takes, like Nick kind of alluded earlier in the podcast, it kind of sucks that Bristol Dirt takes a spot in one of the regular Bristol races because that's how good Bristol is. But I think after going to the Bristol Dirt race last year and NASCAR kind of learning, needs to be ran at night and stuff, I think it's going to be a good show. I mean, it's on my birthday, so I hope it's a good show this year. So I'm really excited personally. I know a lot of people were skeptical, especially after last year's show, but I think it should be a good race.
Yeah, and last year's Bristol Dirt was another one that got marred by rain too, if I'm not mistaken. I'm pretty sure it downpoured there as well.
Yep, it delayed the race a day, and that was actually why I got to see it. They let guys who every fan who owned a truck ticket for the race on Sunday was able to go to the Cup race on Monday, so we were able to see both of those. But But it definitely hurt because it made the track. It was rough for them to get it ready. They obviously rushed it because they had to get it in Monday because it was going to rain Tuesday, Wednesday, and even Thursday. So NASCAR had to really put this event together and rush it. So I agree with that too. I really hope it also doesn't have a rain problem. NASCAR seems to have bad luck with rain though, so we'll see.
Especially on new experimental tracks that they have never been to before. Tuck made one comment that is absolutely true. I completely forgot about this. But this is the last season that we are going to see the Auto Club Speedway on the 2-mile track that they are on right now. I completely forgot that they were changing that.
Yep.
They didn't change it over yet. I thought it was supposed to be changed.
No, this
over.
is the last season.
People talked about it and complained. Like, people wanted to see it one more time, so NASCAR delayed it. So they're doing one more time at the regular circuit that we have right now, and then they'll start their construction for the short track.
Yep, and I completely forgot that was happening. Nick, what are your thoughts on this upcoming season?
Yeah, I think for this upcoming season, I think a lot of it obviously revolves around the new car. It's going to be very interesting how it handles at different tracks, and Atlanta being repaved and how that's going to race. You got all the road courses and all these road course ringers in there with Allmendinger and then Cindric, Briscoe, Chase Elliott. Like, you have tons of drivers that have road course experience and are good on them. I think those races will be very competitive. People hate the road courses, but I always find them, probably one of the most exciting races of the season, year in and year out. So I'm excited to see those. I think, all the short tracks that they're going to, Bristol Dirt, I'm hoping they figure out the Dust Bowl situation and not be so damn dusty.
Yeah.
And they figure that out. Hopefully, they seek some help there and figure out how to get it right. I'm hoping the racing's better. I think if, Kyle Larson can stay out of trouble this season there, I think he can probably take it, or Christopher Bell.
Oh, yeah.
I was disappointed last season when they both crashed.
Right.
But no, I think it'll be an exciting season. It's a lot of mystery because of the new car. You don't know who or what team is going to be strong. So it's pretty much anyone's race to take week in and week out until we have a clear front runner for a team or a driver specifically. So, it'll be interesting to see, and we probably won't really have a good gauge on it until midsummer or so.
Right. Tuck, can you expand on that a little bit? I'm not exactly sure what you're trying to ask there. Going to the playoffs, Daytona, the last race of the regular season. I love that. Now that they have moved that to Daytona, I feel like that it ramps up the I'm not sure what I'm trying to say, but it makes the racing better, I feel like, because that is a track that you could have a guy back in 23rd in the points. He wins at Daytona, and you only have 14 different winners on the season. He finds himself in the playoffs. And I absolutely love that, because last season you saw where Matt DiBenedetto damn near found himself in a chance of winning that Daytona before Chase Elliott put him up into the wall. But, I mean, some of those guys, this is their last-ditch opportunity to make the playoffs, and I absolutely love that they have moved it to a super speedway.
I 100% agree with that. Before, a lot of the guys that are, way back in points, they would look at that, the July 4th Daytona race as their last opportunity. Once that was over, sure, technically their season and playoff hopes weren't over, but they were over. They weren't going to win anywhere else. So having Daytona that last little bit, I mean, it throws a whole other wrench at these guys. No matter what, everybody has a chance to make the playoffs with 1 week to go. And you've got guys that are on the bubble that have to race kind of smart. You've got a lot of different strategies because of it. because some guys are going to be careful to kind of protect their cushion. They don't want to get wrecked and be out. I think that was an amazing choice from NASCAR. When it first happened, a lot of people complained, how could we take away Daytona from the 4th of July?
And I was that person.
Was one of their best.
I was that person. I'll be honest. I was one of the ones that it was like, that is a NASCAR tradition. It's the 4th of July. How are you going to take that from Daytona? But now I love it.
Yeah, I think having the race there, the pressures skyrocket for people in the top 30 to make it in and make it into the playoffs. I think obviously the racing can get kind of crazy, and there's a lot of cars that get wrecked that race. A lot of money out the window, but I think the racing at that point in the season is really great.
Mm-hmm.
Last ditch effort to get into the playoffs, and people pretty much risk everything, the car, everything on the line to win that race to get into the playoffs. So I think the position that race is in is great, and I think it sucks that they did move it there from July, but I think where it's at, to have it there and NASCAR know that any driver can win there,
mm-hmm.
and have it be the last effort to make it in is smart on their part, just as an entertainment standpoint.
Oh, absolutely. And getting to Tuck's comment, we're going to answer the first part first. Who is an under-the-radar driver that you think will make the playoffs? Me, I'm going Daniel Suarez. That is my pick. Who do you guys got?
I'm going with this teammate. Yet again, I'm a little biased on this, but I think Ross Chastain is going to come out here and show some guys some stuff. We saw him in a Chip Ganassi car have his moments last year, and in my opinion, they were more focused on Kurt Busch than him. So for him to go out there and do what he did, some of these road courses, he showed some good skills at road courses, and even Nashville, he had a crazy drive there to finish second. People forget, if Kyle Larson doesn't make it on fuel, Ross Chastain make the playoffs winning there.
Mm-hmm.
I think Trackhouse, how good they ran last year, surprisingly, with Daniel Suarez, I think that combination is going to be huge. I think that team's going to grow a lot, and I think Ross Chastain will find his way into the playoffs somehow, some way.
I can respect that. Nick, who do you got?
For the last spot in the playoffs?
Just who's your surprise to make the playoffs?
Oh, to make the playoffs?
Yep.
Oh, man. Probably a rookie. Not sure on all the rookies this season, but I don't know if Cindric will be a surprise to people to make it in because he's in top equipment. But for a rookie, I think he would make it in. Possibly Harrison Burton, if he's got that alliance with Penske.
Right.
I think he could probably win at Daytona or Talladega and make it in. But, oh, man, there's a lot of drivers that can make it in. I like the pick of Chastain. Like, he had some good races last year, and I think the team will only get stronger this season. Man. Yeah, I think that's about it. I can't really think of anyone else that would be a huge surprise.
Someone else, Fast NASCAR actually just commented, and I 100% agree with him. He said Eric Jones. I think it is time that Richard Petty Motorsports, they just got that new ownership with, I literally
GMS.
Just forgot. Yeah, GMS. They're moving from the Truck Series up to the Cup. I think that alliance is going to be huge for Richard Petty Motorsports, and I 100% agree. Eric Jones has the full potential this season now with the backing of GMS to make the playoffs.
I think what makes this question hard to answer is when you look at the NASCAR field, we talk about NEXXTCAR having a bunch of competition. This NASCAR field is super competitive. We can look at the top of it, and there's about 8 to 10 guys we probably could ride in the playoffs right now, and it'd be a super shock if they don't make it. But about 10 through 25 or so, those cars are really close. I could really see anybody. I mean, Bubba Wallace, I think, is going to be a guy that I could still see steal a spot. I know that's a little bit of a bold one. I could see Kurt Busch. I think Kurt Busch is one of those guys I actually would lock in. That might be a little bit bold. I think he makes the playoffs.
I think Kurt Busch
but I think
is going to.
Bubba will be elevated.
Yeah,
Go ahead. You're good.
I think with Kurt, I think he's going to be on the bubble there, just with the team he's at. With 2311, I think it's going to be probably 14th to 17th, and then Bubba's going to be right there with him. I don't know how much better.
I think you're going to be shocked.
I think it's going to be difficult to judge, where people can land because of the new car. I think there's so many questions with it.
Yeah, this is a season of unknown right now.
Yeah, big unknowns, and I think we really have to revisit it probably about in the springtime when we kind of have a gauge of what team is kind of hitting its stride. And then we can kind of judge on that. But with the car, God, there's so many questions of who can wheel it and who can't, and
it all comes back to, like you said earlier, Nick. It all comes down to who can handle this car the best.
Right, and I think that's why I'm saying maybe Harrison Burton will make it in. He's a good young talent, but I think with Larson, obviously he's going to be up there. He's going to be one of those people. It's not a surprise he's in the playoffs. It's going to be with Christopher Bell. I think he'll make the playoffs. Possibly get a dirt win at Bristol, or hopefully just be consistent enough to make it in.
Right.
I think it would be probably like around 10 to 14th in the standings or so. But it's really depending on who picks up the car and kind of gets it first. So we'll see what happens.
Absolutely. And let's move on to the second part of Tuck's question. Who is someone that you would expect to make it but doesn't? My pick, and I hate to say it, I never used to be a fan of this guy until he started doing his celebration of grabbing the American flag and driving around with it. That is Brad Keselowski. I hate to say it, but I think he does not make the playoffs this season. With that move to Roush Fenway Keselowski Racing, I hope I'm wrong. I hope he can bring back that competitive winningness style that we were so used to seeing Roush back in the day. I mean, they were unarguably the best team in NASCAR from 2000 to 2005 when Jimmy Johnson took over, winning 5 in a row in 2006. I mean, Roush, Greg Biffle, Mark Martin, Matt Kenseth, they had the best driver lineup at that time.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think, I'm torn because I think Brad is obviously a pretty damn good driver. And I think he's probably, top 10 driver in the whole series. But I think just the team that he went to is obviously a downgrade from Penske. I think he ran decent last season, but I don't know how much better Roush is going to get, if any, with him moving over there. I think it was just pretty much a business strategy for him to go there. Have a backup plan after he's done racing. But
the only reason I think Roush Fenway will be back to their old ways is when Brad Keselowski started Brad Keselowski Racing down in the Truck Series, they were unbeatable. They had Briscoe, they had Blaney, they had several other guys come through there and just absolutely dominate. And then obviously Kyle Busch had enough of that, and he created a Kyle Busch Motorsports, which basically is what kind of ran Keselowski Racing out of business. So I think Keselowski knows what it takes to run a winning team, and he has the money and the backing to support that decision.
Yeah, no, I think hopefully, and I think it will work out in the long run. I'm not sure if it'll work out this season for him. With Buescher and him, I think they'll be, from probably around the 13th or top 10 in points all the way to 20th. So they'll be somewhere in there. I think they're a mid-pack team. I think Keselowski could make it. Buescher's would be, probably around like the 16th or so. Buescher did have some good races last season,
right?
Where it's like, I don't know how he got up there, but he's up there. And so I think, if they could, finish it off strong, I think there would be a team to make it in. But we'll see what happens. Again, there's a lot of unknowns that we have no idea what's going to happen. So that's it's hard. Tuck's asking a lot of hard questions,
and I love that.
Yeah.
I love it, Tuck. Keep it up. Before we head to Fast NASCAR's question, chat. Think of a topic that we have not talked about, or another question you guys want to ask that we can get to. But let's finish it off here with Fast NASCAR's question. He wants to know who we think will end up with the most wins in 2022. I personally...
Kyle Larson.
You say Kyle Larson? I have to disagree with that. I'm expecting to see Kevin Harvick and Denny Hamlin both return to the way they were before last season, where they Harvick won 11, Hamlin won 9. I expect to see both those drivers return because they're hungry. So I think it's going to go Kevin Harvick, honestly.
Yeah, I think it's going to be Larson still. I think he's the hottest driver, the hottest team, and with the car, I think he's going to tear it up this season. If not him, my second pick would probably be Kyle Busch.
I don't know.
I could drive the damn car. It's Kyle Busch or Kyle Larson.
I do kind of agree with you a little bit on the Kyle Busch because, as everyone knows, M&M's pulled off. This is their last season sponsoring him. So he knows he's got to bring in another sponsor that can pick up right where M&M's left off. So he's got a little bit of pressure on him as well to perform better than he has.
See, I'm definitely taking more. I'm more on the fence with Nick than you, Ronnie.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see Hamlin and Harvick them getting back to the point they were. I talked about early in the show. I could see Harvick either improving or even maybe going down with this next car. He's a bit of a wild card for me. Same for Hamlin. I don't think Hamlin's going to improve randomly because of this new car. I don't see him being one of those guys. One guy I want to point out, if we're not going to look at Larson, I think Martin Truex is a guy I could see this car helping out. It would not shock me at all if Martin Truex goes out there and has one of those seasons he wins 5-6 races randomly. I really think Martin Truex actually will be it's a little bit bold. I think he'll give Kyle Busch a run for the money at being the best driver at Joe Gibbs next year.
Right.
And I honestly think Danny will be third, but I think Bell will give a run for Danny third. I wouldn't be surprised if Danny's actually the worst driver at Joe Gibbs next season. I know that's bold, but I could see it. I really could. That tells you how different me and you view that situation. You think Danny Hamlin could be arguably the best driver in NASCAR. I think he could be the worst driver on his own team. Heck, I could see Kurt Busch having a better year than Danny Hamlin. I don't expect a whole lot from Danny this year. I think he's going to be too wrapped up in 2311 and stuff and too distracted. I don't think this car suits him well.
Yeah.
I know that's bold, but I'm going to roll with it.
How about you, Nick?
No further comment.
Good. Last question is, hold on a second. Let's get it back. I don't know what my screen is doing. There we go. All right. Prediction on who wins the Clash. Start us off, Nick.
Oh, God. That's going to be hard. You're going to want someone who's good on the short track, break in, probably Hamlin. He's good at Martinsville, Bristol, Richmond. I think he can manage the brakes and everything well. They are going to a bigger brake system too,
right.
So it's easier to brake and everything. Might even the playing field out for everybody, but no, just the way he drives on the short tracks, I think he would be someone to look after. Or Kyle Busch. I think Kyle Busch would be someone to take a look at too.
Absolutely. Tennessee, who you got?
That's a hard question.
It is. That's why I wanted to go last.
That's a rough one. How about the new entry of Landon Castle? No, I'm joking. I'm
sorry.
You know what? I'm gonna go a bit bold. This guy hasn't won on an actual oval in literally over a year. But let's go with NASCAR's golden boy, Chase Elliott. All season last year, he sat in Kyle Larson's shadow. I could see Chase Elliott getting it done under the lights in LA this weekend.
Yeah, I can see that because, like you said, he hasn't won on an oval in a long time. But the thing is, we have never, ever seen NASCAR run on a track this small, nor run at this track. And they have never driven this car in a race environment. So there are so many just unknowns about this weekend. But I have got to go with Nick, and I am going with Denny Hamlin. Now, I know I keep going back to the man, but he knows how to get it done on short tracks. Like Nick said, he's basically up there, in my opinion, with Jeff Gordon as the king of Martinsville. The man knows how to get it done. He knows how to save those brakes, while so many others, unfortunately, my buddy Ryan Blaney is one of those guys that doesn't know how to save those brakes. But I think Denny Hamlin can get it done here at the Clash.
I think that you and Nick are drinking too much Denny Hamlin and Harrison Burton Kool-Aid. I don't know where y'all got it, but you need to stop drinking it because both of you are wrong. And that's all I got to say on that.
I'm an Elliott fan, so for you to pick him, I am on board with that. But I hate Hamlin with a passion, but I'm just looking at like how driving styles go.
The track fits him.
Tracks. Yeah,
it does. But if he's going to win a race, I actually think this would be it. I really think when we start getting going this year, I'm being honest, I don't see Hamlin being one of those guys I look at week in, week out and being scared of. That's just me. I think Hendrick is going to be. I think Hendrick's going to be more of a problem.
Yeah.
Considering I think he had a better average finish than Larson last season.
Mm-hmm. He did. He's on a little hot streak, but I've never been a big fan of Hamlin. I think he's a little overrated.
Me neither.
That's just me. I don't know. Maybe he twisted my feather at some point. I don't know, but we'll see.
All right. Well, we got two people in the chat saying Cody Ware will be your 2022 Busch Light champion. But yes. All right, CJ, thank you for tuning in, buddy. How you doing, my man? I ain't talked to you in years, buddy. How you been? But I think that pretty much wraps up the first episode here of the NEXXTCAR Racing League podcast. Closing views here, starting off with Nick.
That was a lot of fun, Ron. Nice to be here. I will see you next week. We'll have some more topics. I know we talked about going over some of the best paint schemes this season, ranking them.
Ooh.
Yeah, that sounds like a good time.
Right, and then not only are me and Nick going to be ranking them, we're going to have a poll for everyone in the comments to rank them as well.
Yeah, there's some good ones out there. Right now, I think my favorite is Ross Chastain's Advent Health one.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That's an awesome scheme. I like the little hint of the watermelon on there.
Oh, yeah.
Very, very cool scheme. And obviously, I like Chase's. I think the use of where the number's at and the sponsor is really good. So, yeah, there's still a few more schemes coming out in the last couple days. So we'll get all those. And, that should be a fun time. And we'll get some other topics to talk about and see what we can do and put together for you guys. And it's been a lot of fun. Great talking with you. A lot of fun topics.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of good discussion about several of the topics and hard questions.
Right.
Tuck sucks. No, I'm surprised you doesn't like who's gonna win. No, one random race.
Yeah, right. Who's gonna be your surprise winner?
Who's gonna win Pocono this season? I have no freaking clue.
Once again, I'm going Denny Hamlin on Pocono.
Oh my God! Here we go again.
The dude is unstoppable at Pocono. But going back to what you had talked about the paint scheme, I would also not only like to have it with NASCAR, but NEXXTCAR drivers, everyone viewing this, work on your customs, submit them, and we will include you guys. We will have a NASCAR and a NEXXTCAR voting for paint scheme. So if you guys, whether you're cup, truck, whatever, participate, submit your paint schemes to us. We will include them in the podcast, and we will vote on them.
Yeah, I'll also like to add, if you have 20-watt ignition and you have a custom scheme on there,
absolutely,
because that's the only thing that works on the game.
Right.
You can include that from that game as well. That'd be a lot of fun to do. So,
absolutely. Moving on to our guest star for this week, Tennessee. What you got for closing statements here?
Well, a couple real quick ones. If we're doing a paint scheme vote next week, then
I don't know if
winner's
we'll do NEXXTCARs next week. We're going to try and do NASCARs, but I don't know if we're going to be able to do NEXXTCARs. You got to give me a little time here to get everything into here and stuff.
I gotcha. But when that comes around, I mean, it's obvious who the winner's going to be. I mean, what's more of the iconic custom paint schemes than that Ford truck you see every Sunday?
Oh, here we go.
It's so iconic. I had to bring that sucker back out and won with it first race, and it started the streak this year. That thing is a beauty, so go ahead, fans, and vote for that one because that is the clear winner. Gosh dang it, I already forgot the other thing I wanted to touch on. Paint schemes in NASCAR. I can't believe we didn't talk about number placement when we went to the next gen car. It's a huge part of it. So whatever y'all have in here talking about that, I'll be excited to see what y'all say because that's an interesting topic
absolutely
to talk about.
Yep, we will hit that next week.
It was a blast being in here. I'm extremely excited to see what you do with this, Ronnie and Nick. It was an honor being on the podcast, like I said at the beginning. I hope I can be back on here sooner rather than later. I know we got to get through some guys, but I hope my name gets called again eventually, and maybe we can jump back to some of the topics we talked about earlier and kind of see later in the NASCAR season where some of these, the bold predictions and stuff, kind of land. One last bold prediction I'll give it to you. I'm going to say 4 technically. Jimmy Johnson, Auto Club, Spire. We'll see if those words land later in the year.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah,
they're going to land in the garbage can. That's where those are landing.
I just wanted to throw a Hail Mary in the stream. In case if it does land, I look like an absolute genius.
Yeah, I don't know about that. But, no, Tennessee, it has been a great time having you here on the first ever NEXXTCAR Racing League podcast. We will be back next Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern here on YouTube, Twitch, and my Facebook gaming page. So be sure to like, follow, and subscribe to all three so you don't miss any podcasts. Nick, it's a great time. I hope to see you next Wednesday, buddy.
Yeah. No, I'm hoping I'll be back on with you and hopefully talk about the paint schemes and number placement and some other sports, if there's any other news going around, no Super Bowl news or anything like that, be good to talk about.
Absolutely. Yes, sir. And everyone in the chat, thank you for tuning in, being active in the comments. Tuck, especially you, buddy. Thank you for being professional with your comments tonight. I've seen some of the stuff you've commented throughout the season, so I appreciate you keeping it PG tonight, brother. And everyone watching, be sure to tune in again next Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern. But that is going to be us signing off for the first ever NEXXTCAR Racing League podcast. Have a good week and enjoy your weekend, everybody. Have a good one.